All right. Welcome back, Paperweight Degrees Podcast, episode 12. As always, I'm Colter alongside Tyler, here my co-host.
Yes, hi, hello.
That's free, say hi. There you go. This week we're sponsored by Goya Beans,
Goya.
ZS Goya, and I forget what the other thing she said.
If it's
Usually,
Goya, you know it's good. Isn't that what you
if it's
said?
Goya, it's good.
Yeah.
Something
And
like
then
that.
she tweeted it in Spanish or something.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah,
was trying
I like it.
to.
Yeah.
So thanks for coming on board, Goya Beans. You're gonna like what we have to say this week,
Yeah, you're gonna
so
love it.
don't worry.
MAGA.
Um, Maka, yeah. Did you want to start us out with your thing?
Yeah. I
Okay.
have a very interesting science experiment I started conducting today. Do you
Okay.
have
I,
okay, I'm gonna ask you a question first. Do you have anyone in
okay.
your family who like maybe a crazy uncle or like a crazy grandma or someone that's like totally into conspiracy theories and like they're just kind of out there a little bit?
Yes.
Okay. I'm pretty sure most people have that. I have one. I don't know. I
Uh-huh.
don't know if you have ever experienced this, but this one in particular, I hardly know her. Okay, I've talked to her a few times. I don't know her. She has an Instagram. I don't follow her on Instagram because I don't know her, and she posts some, like really weird shit that I'm not
Do
into,
you
like
do you
conspiracy,
just
like
see her at
full on conspiracy theory. I'm talking 5G, all that stuff.
like the
She's
craziest
yeah, the
stuff? Do you
crazy
see her at
stuff.
like family gatherings or something?
No, she's usually not. Like I said, I've only talked to her a few times.
Oh, okay. So she doesn't even
So,
show up for Christmas.
right. Well, she's not. Yeah, she's not really in like the main family. But anyways,
Gotcha.
she follows me on, or she tries to follow me on Instagram. But
Oh,
I never. I'm
oh.
I'm private on Instagram, and I never accept it because she has all these crazy conspiracy theories, and I'm just whatever.
Well, just don't
But
follow her back.
anyways,
Okay,
anyways,
whatever.
she yeah, I don't follow her back. But
Okay.
anyways, she for the past like year has been met like I don't follow her, so she manually finds me and she sends me these crazy conspiracy Instagram posts from just like crazy shit.
Wait, she DMs you?
She DMs me, yeah.
What the fuck?
And for like the past year she does this. Maybe it's not every day. It's maybe like once a month or so, but it's enough to where it's like, okay, like you're just spamming me with all this crazy conspiracy stuff. Anyways, for the better part of a year, I just ignored it. And I didn't block her, but I never followed her back. So I could see that she was sending me this stuff, but I just ignored it.
Yeah.
Today, I
Today.
decided that it would be a really fun science experiment to accept her, not follow her back, but just accept the conversation DMs
Okay.
and to just start sending her like left-wing propaganda stuff.
Like super far left.
Yeah, well, not super far left, but I mean, she's clearly Team Trump. The
Yeah.
radical left, all that stuff. So, anyways, I accepted today after she sent me another one this morning, and I went on Joe Biden's page and I just sent her the first thing that I saw,
Like the very
the
first.
very first thing. So, it's an experiment. It hasn't yielded any results yet today. She did, as of about an hour ago, see it, but she didn't say anything. So
She didn't
I
respond.
don't know if she's trying to gather a bunch of information to prove me wrong or something,
What was it
or
that you sent
I
her?
sent her. It was a Joe Biden clip showing Trump talking about how the numbers are going to go down, and then there was like a background chart where the numbers were going way up. So he was contradicting himself, and the cases were
Oh,
getting
for
worse.
coronavirus. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I sent her. But I had the intention of just anytime she says anything, to just send her another Joe Biden post.
Just clap back with Biden.
I really want to see what she says about it. So
I mean,
anyways, that's my
yeah, you kind of.
experiment. Some of the stuff she sends me, I'll tell you. Let me pull up one of just to give you an idea, one of the Instagram pages that actually like the name of the Instagram page of one of the shit that she sends me, the name of it is Red Pill Fuel, just to give you an idea.
Oh no.
One of the posts was about Oregon healthcare worker destroys COVID hysteria. Another post was about how deaths are going down and it's dumb that we're closing back down. And then the last one she sent me was about some satanic pedophiles on the elites. Like the elites are some satanic pedophiles. I'm not making it up. That's what the title says. It's crazy. So, anyways, I guess next week I'll report back and see if she said anything.
Yeah, I'm really curious about this.
I am too. Because I was just gonna ignore it. I'm like, you know what? I have an opportunity here for science
Yeah, I mean,
because no one ever says anything back to those people. You know what? I'm gonna do something.
yeah, I have found that um, just like in general, more intelligent people or more competent people tend to like walk away from situations or just ignore people that are clearly and like vehemently wrong.
Yeah,
Um, which is kind of counterproductive. Which actually, it's kind of the definition of counterproductive, right?
yeah,
Um, so it's good that you're you're not even fighting back. You're literally just doing what she's doing.
yeah. That's why I'm doing it because there's nothing she can say because she's
Yeah,
sending her propaganda. I mean, her propaganda isn't just presidential election stuff. I mean, it's crazy stuff. But
it's
anyway, it's the
yeah,
same.
like
It's the
far
same
right wing.
idea. Propaganda, propaganda. So she can't say don't send me that, right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
she's been doing that to me for a year. So I'm just really curious what she's gonna do back to this. So far I can see that she's seen it. So part of me says she's on the web right now gathering information about how wrong I am. And the other part of me says maybe she doesn't care and she just wants to send me her stuff.
maybe
So
you
we'll
just
see.
maybe you okay. I see actually a big opportunity here. Have you ever
Okay.
seen that Looney Tunes episode where Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck are arguing over whether or not it's rabbit season or duck season?
No?
No.
No.
Okay, let me fucking pull this up. So it's okay. Let me just see. Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, rabbit season, duck season. It's got to be like the first clip. Yeah, here we go. This is exact. I'm not sure if we can show this or not. It's a YouTube video, so I think we'll be okay.
Yeah, we'll be all right. This is going on
Yeah.
YouTube too, so it's
Yeah.
gonna have far
Okay.
less views than that one does. So
So pull that up and show the volume on stream.
okay.
Hey, what's a big idea? Why don't you look where you... Huh?
Oh, how simply dreadful. You poor little man. Did I hurt you with my naughty gun?
Oh, shucks. Well,
Yow! Gypsy, you naughty bow wow. Stop that.
This
Okay,
isn't the part, but I'm just leading up to it.
Disguise, say your prayers. You too, duck.
Rabbit season. Duck season. 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 Rabbit season. Duck season.
All right,
Is
is this
this it?
going anywhere? Is it going anywhere? Is this it? It just keeps going.
Let me hold on. I didn't watch the whole video. It's
It just
supposed
keeps
to.
going.
Oh wait.
Duck season. Rabbit season. Duck season.
Uh-oh.
No, this is not it. God damn it. Okay. I
All
can't
right,
believe you've
well,
never seen this. This is insane.
just
I'll
explain what
just
you
sum
meant.
it up. It's like they keep ripping off the signs that say rabbit season, duck season.
Uh-huh.
Eventually Bugs Bunny flips it. So instead of saying duck season, he says rabbit season, which is
Uh-huh.
like counter to what he's saying.
Yeah.
And then it confuses Daffy Duck and he chooses the opposite. He's like, no, it's duck season because he just does opposite of
Oh,
what Bugs says.
that's
And
a good
then
idea.
Bugs is like rabbit season, and Daffy's like duck season, and then at the end, Bugs Bunny's like, "All right, fine, have it your way. It's duck season." He's like, "You're right," and then he gets shot because it's duck season.
I
So
like it.
what I'm trying to say, yeah, like you can pull this with your crazy aunt, where it's just like you're sending shit back and forth, and eventually you throw some like super far right wing shit like Pizzagate level.
Yeah.
And she's
This
like,
is no
"What?
way.
No, Antifa's right," and then
Right. You know what
she
would be
just
you know what would be interesting is if somebody made like the name of a page like like Antifa United or something, like just some left wing, clearly left wing page, and
Mhm.
then they did what you were saying, and they just put out completely conservative or conspiracy
Yeah.
stuff that's generally more conservative leaning, and then just to see what people say, like, oh, you're crazy, man. Or even better, if they just posted like Fox News articles or something.
But they just
Yeah.
take Fox News off the top.
Right. Yeah. And then
That's funny.
everyone would say, no, that's wrong. What do you mean? No, you're totally wrong. And you're, wait a second. This is Fox News. That's right. But you're Antifa. What do you mean?
Yeah, so let me know how that goes with your
Yeah, I
aunt.
will. I'm not going to be mean or anything, but no ill intent. But I just thought it would be interesting to see what would
And
happen.
if she's not mean.
I'm just
then-
doing what she's doing. So
Right. Yeah, she can't get mad at you.
yeah. Anyways, so in a
right.
week's time, I'll let everybody know how that
I'll have an
goes.
update.
Yeah, I'll have an update for you guys.
I'll write that out of my notes. Update on Tyler's aunt.
Right. Yeah. Good. Very good. Very good. All right. What's up with our sound, huh? Our music, our intro music.
Oh my god. So for everyone that doesn't know, we're supposed to have like week 0. I was in the talks of getting intro music for the podcast. We're now 3 months into our podcast.
Yeah.
And we're at the same spot
It's a long project.
where yeah, I literally asked for like 10 to 15 seconds, and I'm like, I'll pay you because I have a friend that as a music producer professionally, and I'm like, hey man, you mind mixing together like a 10 15 minute or 10 15 second like
Minutes?
intro
Yeah.
thing? He's like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, I'll pay you whatever you want. He's like, don't worry, man, I'll do it for free. I'm like, you sure? He's like, yeah, I got you. Like, how long do you want it? What do you want? This and that. I'm like, cool, thanks. I haven't heard anything. It's been 3 months.
It's gonna be the best 15-second sound clip
This
you've
is-
ever heard in your fucking life.
Yeah, I mean, if length of time is proportional to quality of sound, you're in for a fucking treat.
Yeah, you guys are in
That's
for it.
why
Tell
we're
your
waiting.
friends. Tell your friends.
It's long.
Listen, I never listened to the podcast, but these guys' intro music, so good.
So, I mean, check next week. Just watch the first 10 seconds. If it's not there, just click out of the podcast.
Yeah, just get out of here. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't worry about it. So yeah. It'll come. Do you want to get into some real topics for this week?
Yeah, what do you want to start with? There's a lot to talk about. Well,
Oh,
like, not a
man.
lot to talk about, but we got some stuff.
It's
Do we want
let's talk
to
about-
get political, or do we want to do the other stuff first?
Well, a lot of our stuff is political. It's always political. But
Do we want to
let's
get
start with something-
into presidential and Trump stuff? Or we
let's
wanna
start
get
with
other stuff?
let's leave Trump stuff till the end.
Okay, yeah, I like that. We'll try that this week. I think we did it
yeah.
last week. We'll keep doing that for a while and see how that works.
Right. Let's start with Kanye. It's political, but it's not Trump. So
Yeah. Okay.
last week we reported exclusively here on Paperweight Degrees News.
Exclusively, this is shocking
Live.
news.
We sat down with Kanye and he told us that he's running for
Yeah.
2020 president.
He gave us shirts and everything.
Right. As of 2 days ago, this just in, Kanye is dropping out of the presidential race after a whopping 10 days of
It was a hard fought.
campaigning. Was he
Yeah.
campaigning?
Yeah, sure. It was a hard fought battle for sure.
Yeah, many
he
lives were
tried
lost.
He tried to get on one ballot. Didn't work.
I read something like he needed 100 and something odd thousand signatures
137,000 votes just to get on the Florida ballot.
or signatures. I think, right? You don't
Signatures.
need votes.
Something like that. He needed a lot.
Anyways, there was I'm not sure if Independent reported this. Let me see. Like exclusively, but they are saying that someone on Kanye's staff basically said he's out. All our stuff's canceled.
Yeah. I read somewhere that he had like volunteers and stuff too that were very disappointed. I'm not entirely sure why, but okay. I don't know what people were expecting, you know?
If you have a job for a week, it'd be like, dude, really?
Yeah.
when you come to work for
regardless of
Kanye, like,
if you like Kanye for president or like all that beside, there's no way anybody gets on the ballot this late. No way.
no, not even Kanye himself.
No. The man, the myth, the
So,
legend, out of
man,
the
the myth.
race. Maybe in 2024 he'll come back.
You know, didn't he announce his 2020 race like years ago on
Yeah.
in like some on a concert?
Yep.
Yeah,
He
maybe
just
didn't
decided, you
follow
know
through.
what? He woke up that morning, a week ago or whenever he announced, and he said, you know what? No, we're doing this right now.
We're doing it live.
And
Fuck
then,
it.
I mean, a week later, he realized it's not going to happen. But maybe 2024. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, so last week I was joking of whether or not he's bipolar. It turns out he's actually bipolar.
Yeah. You were joking about that? No, he literally is.
Yeah,
I'm not
I
making
was
fun of
joking.
his illnesses either. It's a fact.
I was just memeing because he's so crazy. But it made sense to me. But now I know that I'm mocking the disabled. So
Yeah. I mean, I think he definitely is bipolar, but you know.
well, maybe yeah. I don't know. Maybe this is just this is one of his episodes.
The reason I
Of
didn't want him in
bipolar.
office wasn't because he was bipolar, though. You know,
Because of his
he
views.
wasn't a candidate at all.
Because he's not a
Not
legitimate candidate.
not a candidate at all.
on any
Yeah.
platform whatsoever.
Like right now, if I said, "Hey guys, I hereby declare I'm running for 2020," right now, take me seriously. Not gonna happen.
You can't just say it.
Yeah. I hereby declare bankruptcy.
Is that
You can't
where's
just
that
say it.
from?
The Office. The Office.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Well,
So, rest in peace,
this
Kanye.
is our
You came
memorial
close.
for Kanye.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he
I
had a
wish
good
we
run.
had some like stock-free rest in peace music. You know.
I mean, I don't think
Maybe you
anyone's
can
gonna
ask
DMCA
maybe you can ask your friend if he can make us a rest in peace soundbite somehow. You know, like a sad.
Okay. Yeah, we should get like a soundboard.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be
I'll
good.
make all the sounds myself.
Oh, I like
I'll
it.
just like fart into a mic and be like, "Oh yeah, that's laughter."
I prefer if you just acted out the sound bites.
Okay.
Yeah, that'd be kind
That
of
works
funny.
too.
Yeah, you should do that.
All right. Come in next week for our intro music and
Yeah.
our sound bites.
He's got to practice a little bit.
I think that's really all there is to talk about Kanye, right? Like,
Yeah, rest in peace, Kanye.
I mean,
Time to move
it's
on.
over. Like,
It was
last week we
over
were
as
memeing
fast as
about
it started. Yeah.
everyone gets free Yeezys, but now it's kind of
One more thing. Did he even have like Kanye shirts or anything like for president? Did he have any
like Kanye 2020.
like Kanye swag?
Oh,
I don't
I
think
know
he
we
did
talked about
because
that.
I
don't
checked
think
his
he-
website
no.
a few times and his shop and no. What
He
if
might
he
have,
what if he
like,
made
been
like
in-
Yeezy president stuff and it's like $200 for a shirt?
That wouldn't surprise me. I'm sure it was in the talks.
Oh, I'm sure.
But then the signature and ballot problem came up. It was like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
Well, rip Kanye. All right, next.
Rest in peace. So I was listening to this topic's probably going to be a little touchy, but I was listening to Joe Rogan was talking to some professor named Alan Levinovitz. I'm probably not pronouncing that right. Anyways, they were
Okay.
talking about the word natural and how people always want to use like they want to be natural about everything. They want natural foods, like everything to be natural, but natural isn't
Like
necessarily
organic.
yeah, like organic kind of. But anyways, they were saying, you know, that in some cases that's not necessarily the best. And then they started getting into like the whole trans athlete debate where, you know, everybody knows about that debate. I mean, some people think that trans athletes should be able to compete, some people don't, et cetera, et cetera. But anyways, it came to my mind. I'm sure this has probably been thought about and there's holes in it, but wouldn't it be interesting if there was some sort of like league of whatever, pick your sport. It does MMA and we'll call it the equality league where anyone can compete. And so it literally it doesn't matter if you're trans or you're male or you're female. If you're a human and you sign up, then you're good. You just have to make the right weight class, right? So it's a
Right.
league that's open to like literally everybody. Who do you think would be pissed about that? Because I mean, the people who don't think trans people should be competing would say that, you know, people are going to have unfair advantages over the other. But some people think that, you know, full total 100% equality. But I feel like if you made a league like that and you saw results and say the people who were naturally born males were beating naturally or females, let's say. I don't know the statistics on that, by the way. I'm just throwing that out there because
Right.
I think that's been proven. But anyways, if that were to happen, who do you think would be pissed off about it? Because the people who say it's unfair would be pissed because it's unfair for, say, women, if that's what they're arguing. But the people who want
Mm-hmm.
total equality, if the results came out and the women were just being like outperformed by the males significantly, then they would also be pissed, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it would kind of like what would they say about that though? Because they've been fighting for that. You know what I mean? This is all hypothetical, but I'm just saying. I feel like if that were to happen, it's almost like you
Yeah,
want
I'm
this
just
so
thinking it
bad.
through.
Let's let it happen and see what happens, and then it would come out, and then people. I think all sides would be pissed off.
And it would be regulated just like any other league.
Yeah. So literally, like pick MMA for example. Like there's no male, female. It doesn't matter. Like, did you make the weight? Okay, you're in.
Right.
Right. That like total the
Um,
equality league.
I think social justice warriors will be mad. Obviously, transphobics will be mad.
But why do you think?
And
Why do you think
oh,
social justice? This is what I was trying to get at. Why do you think social justice warriors would be mad? Because isn't this kind of are social justice warriors fighting for this kind of stuff? The people who want trans athletes to compete, do they want like a completely open league, or do they want it to just say to stay women fight women and males fight? I'm talking about MMA here as an example.
yeah.
But are they trying to say women fight women, but that also includes trans, or are they saying it doesn't matter, just let it be open?
I don't know where they stand on it.
Yeah.
The only reason I'm saying this is because of my idea of how they think. Um, and I'm thinking this way because um, having an open league like this, um, in my mind, would lead to like the I guess like discrimination of not only transphobe or like trans people, but um, even women, because clearly the league would just be dominated by men because in physical sports like MMA, there's no debate whether or not like a
Yeah.
170-pound man would be able to beat a 170-pound woman. Okay, we'll change it to like 135 because that's more reasonable for women.
Same weight.
Right,
I'm talking about same
like
weight here.
right,
Just
yeah,
like
we're all
any
like
other regular league.
I think I don't think it's debatable whether or not like 100 like a well-trained 135-pound man would beat 135-pound women. I think
Yeah.
that's pretty cut and clear. Um,
Yeah, from
when
the
it comes
information I've
to
seen, I agree with you on that.
right, when it comes to being inclusive, um, I feel like social justice warriors would feel like trans people are being treated unfairly because
Right.
they're. It almost seems like a Special Olympics kind of case where they kind of just throw them to the side and say, "Just do your thing over there."
Yeah.
When social justice warriors like adamantly believe that, like, no, they changed to a man. This is a man. He's gonna
Yeah.
fight like a man,
Yeah.
and like fight in that league, or same thing with women. And so they believe, like, no, just we have the men and women leagues. Just put
Right.
them in whatever fucking side they're on. And so I feel like creating this league would upset them because it kind of just dodges the problem, in maybe in their eyes.
Yeah.
Um, so that's why I feel like they would get mad. General fans probably wouldn't give a shit. Um, it probably wouldn't be as popular. Well, actually, it might be just to see like how it goes. Um, I don't know how women would feel about this.
I
I don't know. I
feel
don't want
like
to. I don't
I
want to talk
feel
for every
like
group, but
I feel like for me the like a women athlete would be upset with this as opposed to all the people who would say no, this is equal. I don't but
um,
it leads into so my next thing that I wanted to that I was thinking about was I think it's so hard to distinguish what it, like sports wise and competitive edge wise how do they even measure I mean, obviously there's testosterone levels and all this stuff for trans people, which I don't entirely understand all of it, and I don't need to for what I'm
Mm.
about to say. But it's so hard to measure what would be considered equal, right? Because at what point in
Yeah.
your what's the word I'm looking for? When you transition from X to Y or Y to X, are you considered to be like a full blown female or full blown male? If I don't know if I'm saying that wrong.
Right. I know what you're saying. Yeah. In terms of like physical abilities.
Right, because it's like nobody measures if two natural born females are fighting in the ring. They're not measuring their testosterone levels and all this other stuff that defines the what makes you a female or what makes you a male, right?
Right.
So my thing
Like
is how
physically.
the
Yeah.
hell would they measure to figure out what's fair and what's not? Because not even the same. So those two example women I was talking about, they're not even going to have the same levels. So what do you consider the right level? I just think
Right.
it's impossible. At least I'm not an expert in this. I'm sure someone is, but I feel like I'd like to know more science behind how you would measure if it qualifies as the other sex. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, do they
That's
have
a
to
hard
lose
one.
some of their testosterone and then bulk down or so? I have no idea. And that's not to say that women can't be bulky, I guess. You get what I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to say women can't be strong or anything like that. No way. But I'm more
Yeah.
interested in like just literally the science behind how the hell they would calculate that because it seems incredibly hard to me.
I think at some point I don't, again, like I'm not a fucking expert. That's why people listen to the show. Um, I honestly, it might be arbitrary at some point. Um, because you know, different amounts of testosterone doesn't necessarily mean like I'm a male and I have more testosterone than a woman, but that doesn't mean I'm not like a fucking bodybuilder. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like testosterone does not equal, or I don't know.
Well, that what I'm trying to get
It's not
at
linear.
is
It's not linear in my mind.
what I'm
Where it's
trying to
like,
get at is people it's a general debate as to whether a male has an advantage over a female. And if that's the case, then what is that advantage? Is it testosterone levels? Is it
well, at the end of the
there's
day, it
got to
comes
be some
down to
science behind it.
at the end of the day, it comes down to strength, which is muscle, which is like one the male physique, but two testosterone. Um, I'm not sure if that's all just testosterone. Like I'm not sure if like you just take a woman, stuff her full of testosterone, and then she eventually gets the strength of a man. You know what I mean? Like
Well,
does it work like
I
that?
was using testosterone because I'm a fucking idiot and I have no clue what elements define you being a male or a female other than your chromosomes.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
if that
Again,
even
I don't
affects,
fucking know.
like how you put
Yeah,
on bulk or anything like that. I was using that as so picture testosterone as whatever ingredients make you a female or whatever ingredients make you a male,
right.
if that makes
Yeah.
sense. I was
Well,
literally
let's.
using that because I'm a fucking idiot and I have no
Yeah,
clue what makes it up.
I don't. I don't think either of us have answers to that. So let's
Yeah.
change this. What about someone like Amanda Nunez, who is a woman through and through, but she has just completely fucking dominated
Yeah, she's
every
really
other
fucking
woman in
good.
her category. Like
Yeah.
she has cleaned out the entire. This is
Yeah.
MMA for people that don't know.
Yeah.
She's completely cleaned out her weight class and
Mop the floor.
the adjacent weight class.
Yeah.
She holds two belts, and there's no one that can compete against her.
Yeah.
If you opened this separate league that you're talking about, where anyone can perform or like compete as long as they make weight, is that suitable for someone like Amanda Nunez?
Well, I mean, I think if all parties sign up and know what they're getting into, then yes. But I think personally, I feel like there's advantages over people. If there's another, like say a male at the same exact weight class as, you know what, I want a third belt, and it's gonna be in this equality league. Okay, that's what I'm calling a league that accepts whatever gender you define yourself as. It literally doesn't matter. Like you get the paper to sign up for this fight. There's no check mark if you're a male or female. It's just like, did you make the weight? Yes. Okay, you're good.
Right.
So with that, I feel like I don't know. I feel like a lot of people wouldn't want that league. Like fighters themselves wouldn't want that league.
Um.
I feel awkward saying it because I know there's a stigma behind saying I think that in a combat sport a male would have an advantage over a female. And I know that's like a touchy subject, but from the stuff I've read, it seems like that is scientifically the case. Now, I'm not saying that's for every
Right.
case, but if you take two of the same people who train the exact same amount, do the exact same exercises, have the same skill level, one's going to have a natural advantage.
Yeah.
So I
What
feel
do
like
you,
that would be the
or
problem.
how many men do you think would join that league?
I don't know.
You know
It's
what I mean?
kind of like I feel like it's like a lose-lose situation.
Like,
As shitty as
right?
that
Yeah.
sounds.
Like, oh my god, yeah, I don't.
But anyways, what I was trying to get
Yeah.
at is I'm interested in the science behind how they would measure a trans athlete to see if they're at the same level as whatever gender that they've you know transitioned to.
Right, but we don't do science on this podcast,
Yeah,
so
and I
we'll
know
just
it's
skip
hard to
that.
discern, but we're not experts on that.
We don't believe in science.
But anyways, I just thought that was kind of interesting, and like
That's an interesting one.
the repercussions of having a
Are they
league like
thinking?
that.
Are they thinking about doing that?
No, not. I literally just
Hmm.
randomly thought of that. It's probably a
Hmm.
stupid idea. That's probably never
Yeah, it's
going to
dumb.
happen. But it would just be interesting to think about the repercussions of it and how it would work. But I am interested. What
It is
other
interesting.
because I know that trans athletes have competed in some sports, which I think is great. But I'm interested to see like the science behind it, to see because it's like if you I feel like when trans athletes join a sport, like they're usually they're transitioned and they've taken the right. I don't know what it takes to transition.
Right,
I'm a fucking idiot,
they
but
have
they've
yeah,
taken
like completed their
they've completed the medical process rather than just
testosterone treatments.
because they're. I feel like if somebody were to say like, I'm not going to say a name. If someone were to say, okay, I feel like I'm going to transition to become a woman now, you if you were to immediately say that and then go and sign up for a sports league of the other sex, that would be frowned upon by all parties, right? Like I don't think most people would say that's cool. So at what point during your transition do they say, okay, now you're good? You know what I mean?
Yeah, like do they have to lose a certain amount of strength before they're
Right.
allowed? Is
Yeah.
that's what you're trying to say?
Yeah.
In a politically correct way.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Again, this is why this debate is so fucking hot and touchy, and it seems almost paradoxical because there really isn't a good answer. Um, I don't think we're gonna be able to find that answer. I honestly, I don't think there's gonna be an answer to this for a long time.
No, I
And
don't think so either.
if there ever is somewhat even like a smidge of a solution, it might be something like you were suggesting, where all parties just get together and say, "Look, let's stop fighting over this, and we'll just make this other thing, and we'll all be
Yeah.
happy with it."
Yep.
Yeah. Well,
I just thought it would be interesting to talk about that because I was thinking about it for a while.
hmm
Uh,
let's
okay.
talk about since we're already kind of talking about UFC, let's talk about UFC 251 that happened last
Oh
week.
yeah.
Did you watch it? Well, I know you watched
I
it.
did. I
fucking texted
definitely
you while we were
watched it. Yeah,
watching.
we were watching
Yeah.
it together.
So what?
Okay. Let's just go with the. Were there any prelim fights that we thought were really good? There was one prelim
Nah, let's just
fight.
do the main card.
It was.
I only saw one prelim, so I might have not.
Yeah.
Or like
I
before
think
the main card
the
too.
main prelim card was pretty good. Prochazka versus Odezimir. That one was pretty good. But we'll just get into the main card.
Yeah. So this card started with
Ribas, and well, she just absolutely killed it. I mean, she's a fucking badass.
Rose.
No, Amanda Ribas. That's the first, the women flyweight. That was the very
Am I
first fight.
retarded?
Yeah,
Amanda.
Rose is the one above that. Yeah.
Oh, Rebus.
Yeah.
Did I watch this fight? Hello. Oh, Paige Van said. Oh yeah. Oh yes.
Yeah.
This fight. I just forgot the other person.
Yeah. So Ribas just, I mean, there's not much to say. She just absolutely destroyed that.
She completely wrecked.
Yeah.
That was hard to watch. It was just
I'll pull
so
up the card
one-sided.
on. I'll pull up the card here. Yeah. So yeah, Rebus was that was she just outclassed Paige Van Zant in my opinion.
It wasn't even a competition. Like
Yeah.
it was just. So the fight ended round 1.
Yep.
Like it lasted like 2 minutes.
Yep.
Um, and she finished her in a leg lock.
Yeah.
I don't know. Van Zandt just honestly looked helpless.
Next fight was one of my favorite fights actually. It was really good. Jessica Andrade and Rose Namajunas.
Yeah, this one was
Say
good.
that. Rose impresses me. I really like her fight style. She's very
She's so good.
And this was
Like-
the second time they fought, I think. Yeah, she lost to Andrade
yeah.
the first time.
Yeah, the first time she got slammed on her head.
Yeah, well, she was winning the first round in the last fight, and then the second round she just got slammed and kind of knocked her out, and she was done after that.
Kinda. No, this was like some WWE shit. Like pick
No,
her up
yeah, no,
and
I know.
flip her over.
Yeah, no, she like scorpioned her. It was insane. But anyways, this fight,
like straight on her head.
Rose took the win for her, and it was a really good fight.
Yeah. I mean, all she had to do was not get slapped.
It was just a good fight all around. Both fighters did really well, but I'm excited to see Rose's next fight. She's a very fun fighter to watch.
Her technicals are really, really on point.
Yeah.
If you're looking for if that's your kind of if you like watching fighters that are good technically, then she should be up there in terms of your favorites. She did well.
Jose Aldo and Peter Yan was also a really good fight. I always love watching
that
Aldo
one,
fight.
yeah.
Aldo,
that was a good fight.
So Aldo lost, but that was an incredible fight. He got KO'd at the 3.5 minute mark in round 5.
At the very
so it
end,
almost went the full 25. But it was a really good fight. Peter Yan is a fucking badass too. 15-1. Aldo has always been. I don't think everyone loves watching Aldo fight. He puts on a show.
Yeah, they're both badasses. It was a good fight. Yeah, like in the first few rounds, I was like, oh my, it was pretty even in my mind. This was the fight I like half fell asleep in, but it was still pretty even.
Yeah, really good.
Next was Holloway and
Volkanovski.
Yeah,
I thought that. I mean, a lot of people were totally 100% on board with Holloway being robbed. I felt like Volkanovski lost, okay, so the card decision was Volkanovski won, first of all. There was it felt like what was an upset because everyone was pissed off because a lot of people felt that Holloway won that fight. I will say it was a close fight. I did think that Holloway won, but I don't think it was a complete blowout by Volkanovski. It was close.
Or you mean Holloway?
Yeah. No.
Yeah,
Volkanovski won. I don't think it was a complete blowout. It was definitely close.
Oh, okay.
But I did think that Holloway won, but it wasn't crazy. It wasn't a blowout.
Yeah, I agree with you. Holloway should have taken that. I think pretty fair and square, honestly. He might have lost 2 rounds. But there's no way in hell he lost 3. That's just insane. I think he lost 1. Maybe 2. But he definitely should have taken that. This was the most controversial fight, I think.
Yeah, it was a good fight. It was very close.
Oh, I hope there's a rematch. This was already a rematch, wasn't it?
I don't think so. I don't think that was a rematch.
Not.
And the main card, which I think is like the 4th most viewed UFC fight in history, I think.
Really?
Jorge Masvidal, Kamaru Usman, yeah. Also, people really bagged on Usman for that fight, though. They were really, because it felt like it was a very technical fight. It wasn't just ground and pounding, and people were just pissed because they thought it was boring, I think. I thought it was a very technical fight. It's always fun watching Masvidal fight, though, because he's such a wild card, and he has knockout power for sure. And Usman just has really good technicals.
I just expected more out of Masvidal because he looked fantastic fighting Diaz a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
Like he just beat the fuck out of him.
Yeah.
And that fight ended prematurely. But
yeah.
I really expected more out of Masvidal. He just seemed, I don't know. He just seemed outplayed, honestly. Like Usman was is literally just a better fighter. I don't think it was unfair or or anything like that. I just think Usman's a better fighter.
Yeah.
And whether or not it's boring or not,
It was highly technical. It was fun to watch for me.
I mean, it was I don't know, 5 rounds of stomping toes. That's
Yeah.
pretty much what it was if you didn't see it. It was just like stomp the fuck out of Masvidal's toes.
Yeah.
He had him up against the cage the whole time. He looked like John Jones. But yeah, it wasn't the most entertaining, but it definitely shows why Usman is.
I would love to see a rematch when both of them have a full camp, though. Because for anyone
like
who
in a
didn't listen
6-day
last week or
bullshit.
didn't know, Usman trained for a different guy, and then a week before that, before the fight, the other guy, which is Josh Burns, he had COVID, so he couldn't fight, and Masvidal stepped in a week before. Now Masvidal and Usman are supposed to fight for a while now, so it's speculated that Masvidal was already kind of training for Usman, and I'm sure Usman was kind of gearing up to fight Masvidal after this or at some point in the near future.
Something, yeah.
So both of them kind of knew it was coming. It wasn't just totally out of the blue, but either way, I'd like to see a full camp for both guys and then come back. Because I do feel like both guys were at a little bit of a disadvantage, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, just because of the sudden nature of it. But yeah, I think they'll have a rematch, and I'll definitely watch it. I think it's gonna be good.
Definitely props to both of them for taking a fight that on such short notice. That's crazy on both guys.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when the money's right, you know.
Yeah. Oh, well, I'm sure it was because Masvidal had that whole situation with UFC about not being paid enough, and then he took this fight, so I'm sure he got paid.
How much would Dana White have to pay you to get in the cage with Usman?
Usman? Not that much. He's more of a technical fighter. If he stomped my toes, a little bit. I mean, he'd kick my fucking ass. Masvidal a little bit more. If I'm being wrestled and like choked out, no problem. I'll tap out when I get choked.
You'll take the blackout.
But if I'm getting like, if Masvidal is gonna flying knee me, I'm good. That shit is gonna hurt.
To Ben.
Yeah.
Oh hell no! I'm not risking brain damage. Again, no. Okay. First of all, I get brain damage fighting any of these guys. Okay, I'm not risking.
Yeah, I'm not trying to sound like Billy Badass here. Like every single person on this card, every single person would kick my ass. Yeah, thoroughly whip my ass.
Like, yeah.
But if I had to pick, Masvidal would be more than Usman because Usman would probably wrestle me and stomp my toes and it'd be a fucking pain in the ass. He'd probably knock me out too, but I'd take the person that has less knockout potential, which they would knock me out regardless. But I would take the guy.
Hurt as much.
I've never seen Usman throw a flying knee, so I'd take him for less.
Yeah, I think Masvidal might be a bit more vicious and brutal.
Yeah, definitely.
But at our skill level, I think Usman could be just as brutal.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're gonna get our ass kicked either way, but
yeah. I think. Have you ever seen videos of like YouTube videos of just normal ass people getting in the cage with UFC fighters?
Dude, do you remember the MTV show Bully Beatdown?
Oh my god, yes.
Dude, I love that show.
Holy
I fucking loved it, dude.
That's so funny you brought that up because I literally just saw I watched it years ago as a kid, like when it was actually on
me too.
air.
That was hot shit, dude.
And then just 3 days ago, I watched a YouTube video of it, of this one episode. And I was like, oh my god, I haven't seen this in years. And I watched it, and I forgot how funny it is.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
They steam these guys' butts.
Yeah, and they just pile drive
hand it to them, and they put them in protective headgear, and they make them wear boxing gloves so they don't get brain damage.
Yeah.
But it is so funny just to if you're jacked and you have a lot of muscle, that does not mean anything when it comes to UFC.
Jiu-jitsu,
you will get
fucked.
You will get your ass handed to you.
Yeah.
Even if you think you can box, regardless of jiu-jitsu and submissions techniques and stuff like that, you're miles out. But even in terms of boxing, kickboxing, you're still getting your ass handed to you, even if you have a ton of muscle.
Even if you've been in street fights and stuff, you're not going to expect a fucking leg to the face, like a backspin kick or some shit. You're not going to expect that.
Street fights are not anything close to what UFC fighters.
I got a question. You know who Kimbo Slice is, right?
Yeah.
You've seen like his street fight videos and all that.
No, does he have some?
Yeah, that's how he started.
Can we watch?
He started. No, they're very graphic.
Oh fuck.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you a question. If you haven't seen those though, then I'll wait. I was gonna say. Yeah, look up like a knockout
Kimbo Slice Street
compilation.
compilation.
Yeah, just like skim through it real quick, and then when you're done with that, tell me how much money it would take for you to get in the ring with him. He's passed
Okay.
since, so rest in peace. But if he were still alive,
Okay, so it looks like he's 6'2", 268
Yeah.
pounds. Oh my god.
his
Dude.
knockouts are brutal.
No.
Brutal. He will kill you.
Okay, so these guys are just literally just in a backyard, no shirts on.
That's
fighting.
what he used to do. He was a street fighter.
That's like his profession.
Yeah. Well, it was, and then he started getting into professional fighting.
Because he was just so good at owning the streets.
Yeah.
Oh my god. What the fuck? He's just dropping his hands and letting this guy punch him in the face.
Yeah.
And he's just taking it. Oh
Yeah.
my god, this guy's... Oh, no, dude, no. There is precisely zero amount of money that you could pay me to get into... Even 10... No, I wouldn't even risk 10 seconds. There's no fucking way in hell, dude. That guy's a fucking monster. There's no way in hell. Holy hell. Would you take any money for that?
No. Well, I mean, it'd have to be a lot of money. Like realistically, if someone, I say like
Enough to
$1
pay for a
million
brain aneurysm for healthcare?
like $1 million, but at the same time, I feel like the build up to getting in the ring with that guy I think I would actually pass out. Can you imagine that guy? You get in the ring, he just
Get in the
stands
ring,
there,
oh,
and you're beating the shit out of him, and he just takes it, and he's like, "Are you done?" And you're like, "Yeah, just finish me off."
That's literally how it'd go. Like, you'd
Yeah.
throw, like, your hardest punch. You'd probably, like, dislocate your shoulder, and he'd be like, all right, we gonna start this? No, dude, no. There's not even a question.
Breaking news! I actually just got this notification.
Like, right now?
Like right now.
This just in.
You know the rapper Logic, right?
Yes, I do.
He just announced his final album. He's retiring after it.
What?
Yeah.
Why?
His final studio album is going to be released July 24th. And that's his final one, and he's retiring.
Wait, that's like a few days away.
He said it's been a great decade, and now it's time to be a great father. So it's his final album. He's done. He's retiring.
Wait, what? He
after
can't
this.
be a dad and rap at the same
Well,
time?
Just probably doesn't want to. I mean, I'm sure he could.
Okay.
This just in.
That's kind of...
Did you
I don't
like
know, maybe
Logic?
there's more to that.
He's definitely not
no, I
my
don't.
favorite, but I like
I
him.
don't really listen. I don't listen to Logic, but
I like him. He's not my favorite, but I like him a lot.
it seems... Is there something else that we're missing? Like, you could totally be a dad and have a career at the same time.
You can. He probably doesn't want to. He's got enough money. He wants to be a dad now. Nothing wrong with that.
I guess, yeah.
To each in his own, dude.
This just comes back to my selfishness that we were talking about last week.
You don't even like him. You said you don't listen to him that much.
No. I like kids in terms of kids. Like, no.
Oh, yeah. Well, he seems excited about it, so.
Stuff like this. Yeah,
because if he wasn't excited about it, then he'd still keep rapping, you know.
Here's a hot take. Should we congratulate people when they have kids?
No, absolutely. You should give him a grave.
Give him what?
Give him a gravestone.
A gravestone?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Bury him. Rest in peace, brother. No more Saturdays for the boys.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. Okay, this might sound really fucking ignorant because I'm not old enough to have
Hot
like
take.
appropriately have a kid. Yeah, or to have a kid, or like have friends that have kids.
Hot take.
But it doesn't having a kid doesn't seem that hard because like every person has a dad. I mean, I guess you can royally fuck up your kid. Maybe that should be like, because like keeping it alive doesn't seem that hard. But
No,
that's a pretty low basis on
that's a very low
judging
base.
a father. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, but that's what makes you a father, right? Keeping your kid alive. I'm a dad, right? Like physically being a dad doesn't seem super hard, right?
No, it does.
It
Can you
does.
imagine having a crying baby for 4 years and then
No,
they
no,
turn into
like
toddlers?
putting up with it is a different story. I'm talking about like
That is the story.
physically,
Yes, that's
like getting a
physical.
woman pregnant.
What do you mean?
Like physically getting a woman pregnant and then her giving birth makes you a dad.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem terribly hard for a man to do.
No,
Because
but
all he
that's
has to
assuming
do
you're just
is
done
have
after
sex with a
that.
woman.
You're like, all right, it's been a
But
fun
that's
ride.
what makes you a dad on
Yeah.
paper.
Yeah, on
You know
paper.
what I mean? Like becoming a dad.
Well, there's a
is
lot
not
of things. There's a
not
lot
hard
of
to do.
things that make you stuff on paper, but it doesn't
You can do
necessarily
it on.
mean.
You don't even have to try to do it. You do it on accident, and you
Yeah.
become a dad. Like that's how easy it is. You know what I mean? But like, and keeping it alive also isn't that
I mean, yeah,
terribly
but
difficult.
if you leave immediately after that, like the kid's not even gonna call you dad. So you're on paper a dad, but you're not a
Right,
dad.
like,
You're not gonna go
being a-
brag to people like, yeah, I'm a dad. Where's your? Oh, I don't know. I
being
left after. I have no idea.
I left him in Chicago after
Yeah,
I
I have
left in
no idea.
'87. But no, but okay, but I'm trying to draw the line between being a dad and being a good dad.
Yeah, well, you definitely crossed it if that was your idea of being a dad.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. It's like, let's not congratulate people for being a dad until they've got a few years under their belt and they've proven to be a good dad. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah,
It's like, what if you're, a deadbeat that just treats their kid like trash?
yeah,
I'm not gonna congratulate you for that.
yeah. I'm
I
not
don't know.
congratulating nobody.
Hot take.
Rest in peace.
I'm not giving you congratulations until they graduate high school.
Until their
with
college debt's paid off.
Yeah, until yeah, exactly.
If you're a part of that.
So they're a
If not,
productive member of
after they
society.
graduate high school.
Yeah.
I feel like some parents get it easy though. Like, some kids are just wild cards and some kids are just, pretty chill and laid back.
Yeah. Especially if they're born with disabilities, that makes it harder on the
Yeah.
parents.
Yeah.
I mean that's also something you gotta take into account.
Yeah.
That's kinda scary.
Yeah, you never know. Like, am I gonna get a good one or am I gonna get a little shithead?
You're rolling
Fucking
dice,
go to
man.
the school and pick them up every single day because they're in the fucking principal's office.
Well, I mean when it comes down to behaviors, that's like, somewhat up to you, like how you teach them.
Yeah.
But if they're born without an arm, it's that wasn't your fault unless the wine or like the mom was drinking a bunch of alcohol or doing coke or something like that. But you got to roll the dice sometimes.
Yeah.
Why the fuck are we talking about this? What am I saying?
I don't even know where we're going with
I don't
this.
even know what is happening.
All right. This just in, we're getting
You're
off of
not
this
getting my-
topic. I have no clue
you're
where we're
not
going
getting
with
my
that.
congrats. Fuck you, Logic. You're not getting my congrats until you prove to be a good dad. That's
Yeah.
what it comes up to.
All right. That's a good place to end that.
Next topic.
Okay.
Right,
On a different note, we are giving away 200
No, we're not.
trillion.
No, we're not.
We're giving away 200 trillion bitcoins to whoever
Oh.
sends us 100. This just in.
I thought we were actually giving away shit.
No. No, we're not. What are you talking about?
Amazon gift cards. What the fuck?
No, we're not. We're not giving away shit. That was a joke about the Twitter account hijacking that I'm sure everybody saw yesterday. It affected a shit ton of big name people on Twitter, verified people. Elon Musk, Bill Gates, Obama, Uber, Apple, Mr. B. I mean, just a shit ton of people, except Donald Trump. Just saying. But
he wasn't involved
anyways,
in it?
wasn't involved in it.
Wait.
But anyways,
Oh, that's interesting.
anyways, before we go down that rabbit hole, yeah. So all these accounts got hacked, and it was Bitcoin scams for Bitcoin scams. They said we're giving away X amount of money if you donate like half of it to us or something. Like give us $1,000, we'll give you 2,000 basically. And it was going on like all day yesterday on these accounts. All day. It was just like multiple back
With
and
Bitcoin
forth.
addresses.
Yeah. And people pulled up like the addresses Bitcoin wallets, and they saw that these guys were making like hundreds of thousands of dollars. So they fucking made it out big with this.
Whoa. Wow. Well, can they not see that it's fraudulent and refund?
Not Bitcoins.
Well, actually, no, not Bitcoins.
Not
'cause
Bitcoins. Yeah,
technology is-
that's why they
it's
did
not
it.
just- it's not just a bank.
Yeah.
They can't just.
They're not getting
transfer
tracked
money.
either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn.
There were. I can't believe how many people fell for that. I guess it's more.
That's
It's more
dude.
appealing when someone like Elon Musk tweets out, "Hey, I'm giving away money." You're immediately saying, "Okay," but I feel like a majority. This might come off as really awful, but I feel like a majority of people who are interested in Bitcoin and have Bitcoin would know the repercussions of something like donating to somebody like that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like people shouldn't fall for that if you're invested in Bitcoin and you have Bitcoin. Because not every random civilian has Bitcoin, for the most part. For them to make hundreds of thousands of dollars, that's a lot of people donating to them.
Yeah. Well, you're underestimating people's stupidity.
I know I am.
Yeah. Everyone who donated to those guys has clearly never played RuneScape, because this is a classic trick that you always see in
Classic,
fucking
dude.
Grand Exchange.
That's what I
Like,
thought
hey,
immediately.
doubling money. You give me 1 mil and I'll give you 2. It's literally just you give me 1 mil and then I log out.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
Like, it's so fucking easy to see. But I guess if you're
I bet
if you're a fucking boomer.
nobody who fell for that was a RuneScape player. I guarantee it.
Oh no.
No way.
Trimming rune armor free. Yeah.
We're
Yeah,
trimming rune armor. Hand me all of your armor.
This is
I'll trim
why
whatever
if
you
I
have.
become president, everyone will be required to play RuneScape. Everyone will get a free membership.
I might vote for Trump if that happens. I
He
want a
just
free
hops on that.
membership, dude. Yeah. I
Dude,
mean,
that's-
democracy's cool and all, but if you ever had a free RuneScape account,
yeah, that's the election this year. Is either you choose democracy or you choose a RuneScape account.
Trump's trying to get the millennials. That's his new strategy.
That's his millennial vote.
Okay, so along with this,
Right, so Bitcoin. Yeah.
So along with this whole scam, me and a friend of mine were talking, and we were just speculating on probably what happened. Is that there was some sort of inside job, or like a Twitter person, Twitter staff member, maybe an old Twitter staff person, their account got compromised or they got paid off or something, because there's no way that these hackers get all of these accounts. So my thought was that it was an inside job, and there's rumors speculating around right now that it was an inside job, and that's the most likely thing, or some sort of social engineering problem happened and they got access to a staff account. So there was what appears to be a Twitter admin panel that was circulating around from whoever did the hacking or something, or someone who had access to it. And they were on this the Twitter admin board or whatever, and it shows like users and it shows their tags that are with them. If you can't see it on the stream, some of the tags say perm suspended, suspended, bounced, protected, bounced, inactive, protected, compromised, and the important ones here are that caused a lot of backlash were trends blacklist and search blacklist. So
Meaning what?
Meaning people have been speculating that Twitter shadow bans people, i.e., if you try to search for somebody on Twitter, or if they're trending but they're not showing up on trending, that Twitter's somehow blacklisting people. And so people took these tags, search blacklist, that you could literally blacklist people. And people were kind of losing their marbles over that. So there's a few rants I want to make as a web developer. Another critique I saw was people making fun of the dashboard appearance, which is the stupidest argument I've seen about this whole situation. Nobody, like I said, I'm a full stack web developer. I know my way around the web. There's no admin dashboard. They don't design admin dashboards to be beautiful because it's for fucking admins. Why would you put money and power into building an admin dashboard? They're paying you to do work, not to fucking look at pretty pictures on an admin board. That's not what an admin board's for. Your admin board is to administrate. There's no reason why. And if you're asking me, even having colored tags and stuff like this is above and beyond for an admin dashboard. There's no reason for an admin dashboard to be exceptionally beautiful UI wise. It's just a stupid argument. So that's what I'll say about the dashboard appearance. That it's really stupid that people were making fun of the dashboard. That's just dumb.
Was there something else?
So people were, like we talked about, they were ranting about the trends blacklist and the search blacklist because everyone is getting really upset about shadow bans and they're saying it's free speech and all this stuff. Twitter is a private company. They can run it however the fuck they want. And if they want to blacklist you from searches, they can. There's no law that says that they can't. How do you feel about that?
Right. I mean, yes. I'm just trying to think of the moral argument here.
There is
because if
you can make fun of Twitter as a company and you can say you don't like that and you don't want to use that, and that's all totally fine. It's a private company though. There's no law that's enforced that says that you can't do that. None. None at
right.
all.
This kind of goes back to we had a free speech debate a couple episodes ago. And I guess and this sort of came up like the Twitter thing, where if they are at the time we're talking about removing tweets, but now it seems like we're even talking about blacklisting.
Okay, let me say one thing before you get into that. If you want to debate whether if you want to debate over the morality of doing this as a company, there's a large argument there. But if you're arguing, which is what I saw online, over free speech, it's just a null argument. There's no argument for it at all.
Oh yeah, I mean, like the Constitution says you have free speech. Like the government can't stop you from.
Yeah, well,
free speech,
what I'm trying to
Twitter's
say,
not the government.
a
Yeah,
privately owned company is not entitled to uphold any of that. And if you want to say Twitter as a company shitty for having a search blacklist, you could totally say that, and there's an argument to be made there. But if you're trying to argue free speech over this, your argument is immediately just thrown out the window. It doesn't matter. Whether you think it's right or not, it has to do with the company and not free speech.
Yeah, I was just talking about moral argument because the free speech, the private corporation free speech argument just seemed trivial to me because like of course they can do whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah.
So I was just kind of glancing over that. I don't know. Do you want to talk about the morality, or did you want to talk about the Bitcoin stuff?
So okay, we can talk about this. So we're talking about Twitter as a company and whether they should be doing this, not free speech, because your free speech argument is null.
Right.
Immediately, like that's not even into consideration. Now, if you want to say Twitter, so do you think that there should be a search blacklist or a trends blacklist? Assuming this is even true, this is just a picture circular. I'm pretty sure that there's some sort of blacklist for searching and stuff. I've seen that all over the place. I'm sure that I'm sure that this is probably real too, but
yeah, I mean it'd be easy to develop, and it seems like something a private corporation would want to do. Like it seems like in their best interest, so they probably did it. As far as should they, again, when it comes to like blatantly incorrect statements and or blatantly, I don't want to say anti-progressive, but I guess more fueled along the sides of like racial hate or just like utter intolerance for who you are as a person, whether or not like you're black or you're Jewish or you're Muslim or you're a woman or something like that, along those political lines.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't want to see that trash on Twitter. Fucking blacklisted.
Right, but if you're searching for somebody and they don't show up, my thing is I don't understand why you would go through the trouble of a search blacklist or a trend blacklist. Why not just skip the middleman and just ban them? Is it because people might not notice that they're search blacklists and they just don't want the person to get angry or something, and they want them to keep using the platform?
Yeah, I think it's more of a defense tactic for Twitter. It's like, no, we don't ban anyone. We just shadow ban them behind the scenes so that like no one fucking knows. But it's essentially a ban,
Yeah.
but without it being public, right? So that's the best way to handle it. So it's like you get rid of the problem, but you don't cause the public fuss.
Yeah.
So that seems logical to me.
My thing is I've seen search blacklists. I understand if it's from a perspective of if you search for someone's name and you're looking for someone else, but this person that they have search blacklisted shows up. I understand you might not want to show them, but I feel like some people that I've seen who've claimed to be blacklisted, you can type their name into the search bar and they literally don't show up at all. So I don't understand the point of that. If you're going to leave their page up, but you're not going to let people find them, that doesn't make any sense to me. But if you're trying to blacklist them to where
Wait, that doesn't make sense to you?
it doesn't make sense, because if you're going to leave their page up, why would you leave their page up? I don't know.
Well, like I was saying earlier, because if you outright ban them off the platform, then all their supporters are going to be very mad at you.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I get
shadow
that,
ban them,
but
if you shadow ban them behind the scenes, then
it just feels so weird to say, yeah, their page is still there, but you can't find it. I understand, it kind of makes me angry a little bit. I don't know.
oh, it doesn't make me angry. I don't know. I guess
Oh!
different sides of the same coin, I guess.
I kind of get it, but it's just, I don't know. I feel like if you're gonna do it, just fucking do it. Who cares if you piss people off, you know?
Oh, this half cent
If
bullshit.
you're mad at someone, fucking tell them and ban them, or give them a notification saying watch what you're saying or something. I don't know. The search thing just because there's some people that I follow that have been blacklisted, and I'll try to find their stuff, and it's just you can't even search for it, and I'm following them.
Right.
The example I'm talking of, by the way, is a comedian. I don't know if he's still shadow banned or whatever, but he's a comedian called Andrew Schultz. He's very funny.
Oh, is
he's
he
like my
shadow banned?
favorite comedian. He was. I don't know if he still is. If you can find him, maybe I'll try to find it.
Let me search.
I don't. He probably isn't, because he did like a whole thing about it. Yeah, he's not shadow banned anymore. It looks like. He's claimed to be shadow banned on other platforms too. It makes sense that he'd be shadow banned because he goes. He has some pretty raunchy skits, and he has kind of I don't know, I guess
he's one of the more edgier comedians.
Edgier, yeah. He's my favorite comedian though. But anyways,
for how edgy he is, I think he pulls it off pretty well.
He does, yeah. It's definitely comedy what
yeah.
he says. He's not like a racist or a bigot. It's comedy. It doesn't make any sense to go after comedians for making jokes. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, yeah.
So, anyways, that's how. My main gripe with this whole situation was people trying to cite free speech from this. It goes out the window. They're not entitled for your free speech at all.
Okay, actually, I do want to mention this. I was talking with a friend of mine about the free speech. I don't know if it was a debate or discussion that we had a few weeks ago. And I told him like our main talking points, and he hadn't seen the clip. But he mentioned that there are certain things that you actually can't say that are actually illegal. So if you go into like a movie theater and you just start yelling fire,
yeah,
you could get arrested for that.
Yeah,
because you're causing panic when there's no panic, right? Like
that makes sense.
Causing reaction.
To me, that almost like follows the line of not directly inciting violence, but inciting some sort of negative reaction, I guess.
It makes
Which
a problem.
I guess there's a finer line because it's not a call to action, right? If you say fire, everyone's gonna get up and fucking run. They're not gonna start shooting each other or beating the shit out of each other.
Well, if you say there's a mass shooter in the building or something like that.
Yeah.
When there isn't.
Yeah.
It's America,
guess I see that. I didn't even really think about that. It is interesting to think about.
Yeah, like does that infringe on your free speech rights?
Yeah, and I guess if you were to take that in terms of Twitter, and you see someone tweet out like Donald Trump has just been arrested for murdering someone, and you have 10 million followers, I mean, it's literally just completely made up, right?
Yeah.
It's not like a call. It's not a call to action. Should that be taken down?
Yeah, 100%.
You think?
Yeah, it's wrong.
Well, it's totally wrong.
Yeah, I'm in the business of getting wrong things off the
So
internet.
So if someone read a totally fake news article and it said Donald Trump was just arrested for shooting someone on 10th Avenue, and he retweeted that article, you think he should be banned? He read the
Well,
article. He's like,
retweet.
"Oh shit, Trump just got arrested. I'm showing
You're
everybody
like, holy
this."
fucking shit.
Let's say you don't even retweet it. Let's say the guy takes the article and says, "Oh, fuck Donald Trump. I knew this bitch was a murderer or something." And
Oh
he
no,
doesn't even link the source to it. But he
no.
says,
Just if
I
you
saw in an article Donald Trump's a piece of shit and he murdered someone. Do you
no,
think he
because
should be taken down?
if you trim the source, then it also trims that guy because then he has nothing to talk about. Right? Like he can't
Yeah,
if you just get rid of the source, he can't retweet it, he can't like it. I mean, he could talk about it
yeah.
um on his own personal Twitter without any reference to something like that.
So you're
Um
saying he wouldn't be banned?
correct. I would just ban sources that are
Oh,
clearly wrong.
that's an interesting take. He said, I feel like the fire thing is because you're in a private business building, and that particular behavior is against the terms of service of being in there.
Yeah, I
That
mean
makes
that's kind
sense.
of that's exactly like
So
what this Twitter thing is, right? Like they're under no obligation to follow the rules of our government, right? They're a
yeah,
private corporation, they can make their own rules.
yeah.
Um
So are there any government speeches or speech rhetoric that would classify under direct government no-nos?
wait, what? Can you
So
rephrase that?
if you say fire
Uh-huh.
in a private movie theater, and that's against the rules
Right.
of the movie theater,
Uh-huh.
so it's not necessarily under freedom of speech, I guess, would be the argument. But if are there any government is there any rhetoric you
Oh,
could
oh.
say that the government would say no, you can't say that?
Um I mean, publicly they won't do that because it'd be so clearly in violation of the First Amendment. But um
That's a tough one.
like secretly, like there is shadow banning stuff like that.
Yeah.
And if politicians are shadow banned, then
So I feel like with the fire, it's
but I
not
guess but that's all like public Twitter shit. So even then,
the easiest example of preventing a prevention of freedom of speech would it be inciting violence. If you say, "Hey, that guy's a gun, go beat the shit out of him," that and he doesn't. You
yeah,
just totally
that's
said that. That's totally. But if you
because
say
that's just a different
fire,
argument. Yeah.
you're not inciting violence, but you're causing a. I feel like there's probably a law prohibiting you from misusing government resources like that. Or it's the
Let
same thing.
me.
It's the same thing with maybe doxing someone, or
You know what?
streamers will get doxed
You know what
or
might be
swatted.
closer to this is if the government or specifically like the NSA finds some sort of like ISIS sympathizing website and moves to have it shut down.
Yeah.
Right there, if they're just if they're putting out whatever speech they want to say, and they're
Well,
American citizens, right? They're just sympathizers.
yeah.
Um,
Well, in my
but
opinion, that would be a call to action.
um, true. I guess they could frame it that way.
Yeah,
But at the end of
yeah.
the day, it
You
is
could
just
easily
speech.
frame it that way. It is, but
Yeah,
you can
yeah,
easily frame it that way.
true. What if it was just yeah, that's a hard one.
Yeah. And I
Because at
feel
the
like it is
even
different with so if you walked into a movie theater, there's no call to action on this one, and you just started spouting the N-word over, like you walked in, you just started yelling it over and over and over and over again. The private business can say, "Hey, we don't allow that here, and you have to go," and they can call the police and say, "Let them out because you can't do that in here."
right,
But if
private
you
property.
immediately got outside and started yelling that over and over and over again, I don't think the police would do anything, right?
It might be like a public disturbance
Yeah, it
or
could be. I guess
something
that's an
like that.
argument that could be
Yeah,
made.
I think the conclusion is really just like there's always some other way to frame it as bad
Yeah,
that is legally justified to do something to
yeah,
take action.
yeah.
Um, yeah, even if it's Yeah, they could literally just be standing in Central Park.
Yeah.
And just start going off on this crazy tangent, and then be like, "Oh,
Yeah.
it's public disturbance. You can't do that here, sir."
Yeah.
And then arrest him or take
So
him somewhere else.
what if he didn't yell it? He was just to himself, not whispering, but he was just saying and just in that direct in that volume. Then
Yeah.
I don't think anything would happen.
Uh,
Which, by
I
the
don't know.
way,
You're getting really, really specific here. I'm not sure.
I think it's fun to find the specifics of this stuff. But I see. I don't know. I just thought it was interesting because the difference between. I think the biggest thing is like a call to action in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, that's a pretty easy one because
But it's not
whatever
easy to
platform's on with
define a
freedom
call to
first.
action. I mean, there are some obvious examples of a call to action, but not all of them are so obvious. Like for example, what you were saying with like an ISIS sympathizing website or something. You can easily frame it as maybe not even easily, but you could totally frame that as a call to action for them to join ISIS and do crazy shit. You know what I mean?
Right. It's not that. Yeah, it's not that far of a leap to think
Right.
that, like, well, if you get them on board with ISIS, then they're going to follow whatever ISIS
Yeah.
does, and that includes harming America. So
Yeah.
that's pretty, and especially in an American court, like anything even closely related to ISIS is just going to get shit on. So
Right. Yeah.
it's not even like, even if it does like clearly violate some sort of part of the Constitution, no one's going to bat a fucking eye.
Yeah.
So I guess, yeah, I just wanted to bring up that fire free speech thing because I thought it was
Yeah.
interesting, and we didn't talk about it last
Yeah,
time.
that is interesting. But I still don't think there's any like government. There's no rhetoric you can say that would be against government guidelines unless it's a call to action. But I think what we
Right.
established here is that you could frame stuff to be a call to action pretty easily.
Yeah.
If it's obnoxious what you're saying.
If they really don't like you, they'll find some way to get rid of
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, they will.
Even more so in
And if you're
in
being
in
that
Russia.
obnoxious, it's not that hard of an association to say, okay, this guy, he is going off about this crazy thing over and over. He's probably going to do something dangerous to it or something, you know?
Right.
That's
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah.
Okay, so back to there was
Let's move on. Yeah.
So one more thing about the Twitter breach was a lot of people were they were kind of they were questioning the security of Twitter, I guess, and that's an argument of its own because everybody wants to be safe on the internet, but the reality is no website, nothing on the internet is 100% completely fake. Nothing at all. You can
Safe,
put
you mean?
nothing is safe on the internet.
Right.
I mean, you can be pretty close, but stuff like this, what we saw on Twitter, happens. There's no preventing it. There's literally none because
Also, yeah, I mean, this isn't like the World Bank.
Yeah.
We're talking about Twitter here, right? Like, you need a username and a password, and you're fucking in, right?
Well,
Like,
you can even make
an authentication.
you can make the argument that nothing is safe. Even some crazily guarded bank isn't safe. Nothing is completely 100% safe. Nothing.
I'm just trying to point out the hierarchy of like
Right.
like even though they're important people, at the end of the day, it's just Twitter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you got to use username password, and you're good to go.
Yeah. But I mean, the big thing here is it's just not. I mean, it's difficult, but it's not unheard of for websites to be compromised in any shape. Every big website, I'm sure, has had some sort of vulnerability or some sort of security breach like Twitter just had. I mean, almost every website.
Have you ever heard of quantum cryptography?
Well, I'm familiar with quantum computing, and I know that isn't quantum. Well, the way quantum computing works, the way I understand it, or at least how I was explained to it, was that instead of having like ones or zeros, you would have like a 1 through 4 option, right? Or like instead of on off, it's more. You have more options than just 1 or 0 or 1. You're the physicist here,
right?
But
yeah,
that's how I understand it. So I understand that quantum cryptography. I do know that the cryptography and cracking hashes and all that jazz is like a trillion times faster on quantum. And I don't know the
So
science behind that, but I do know about that. Yeah.
okay, I'm just talking about it because I do know the science behind it. I researched this during my undergrad. Um, quantum cryptography is okay. Let's start the grounds with cryptography in general.
We'll start
That
with
is
quantum. Was my explanation of it correct or
quantum
not? Because
quantum
I'm sure a
computing.
lot of people, aren't familiar at all.
Um,
So instead of ones and zeros, you have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, or something along those lines. There's
I
more
know what you're talking
states,
about.
if I'm saying. So is that
Yeah,
correct?
like that doesn't describe it, but I know what you're talking about. So yeah, like I think everyone has heard in popular science, uh, like quantum, like in classical computing, you have bits.
Right.
In like a transistor, that's either a low voltage or a high voltage, and that correlates to a 0 or a 1.
Right.
And if you put a string of 0 and 1s together, that means something to the computer, and then you
Yeah.
can
Yep.
do computations with that. In a quantum computer, it takes advantage of something called a superposition in quantum mechanics. Have you heard of this?
No.
Okay. Let's take an example of an electron.
Hmm.
So an electron is a quantum particle.
Yeah.
And it exhibits quantum behaviors.
Mhm.
And one behavior that is fundamental to quantum mechanics is superposition. So let's take, in terms of the electron, electrons have something called spin.
Hmm.
Or, actually, let's use photons because it's a bit easier to describe. So photons are also quantum particles. Photon is a particle of light, and um, a photon has a polarization, meaning that the electric field of that photon is oriented in space in some direction.
I have
So
heard of that. Yeah, I know about that a little bit.
yeah, if you think of a wave, it kind of oscillates like a transverse wave. It goes up and down, just like a wave in the ocean, right?
Hmm.
There's a high part and there's a low part.
Correct.
So the electric field or electric part of this photon uh, is a wave, and it goes up and down.
Hmm.
And the direction that it goes up and down could be um, like vertical, so it goes up and down, or it could be horizontal, so it goes side to side, or it
Hmm.
could be diagonal or anti-diagonal, so kind of like a 45-degree kind of thing.
Hmm.
Um, and if you observe this photon, then you can figure out how this uh, how the electric field is polarized of that
Hmm.
specific photon.
Correct.
What a superposition is you're taking advantage of the uncertainty in this polarization.
Okay.
So it turns out before you take a measurement or before you make an observation of this photon, of this particle, it is not in a strictly deterministic state, meaning before you look at it, it is not. It has, if it's in a superposition, it's not just like up and down or side to side. So if an analogy I'll give is if I had a blue ball in my hand and I
Uh-huh.
showed you the blue ball and then I closed my hand, basic object permanence would give you intuition of like, well, the blue ball is still in your hand, but just because
Yeah.
I can't see it doesn't mean it's not there,
Unless you're
and it
David
doesn't mean that
Blaine.
it's not blue.
Right.
Um, if I were to tell you that I had a photon in my hand that was in a superposition of both horizontal and vertical, and I had my hand closed, before I open it, it is not either horizontal or vertical, and there's just some way that we don't know about it, right?
Uh-huh.
Like the ball is not blue.
Right.
It is truly in a superposition, let's say blue and red. Before I open my hand, it's not in a state of blue, but we just don't know it, or it's not in a state of red, we just don't know it.
So this is literally
Um,
just Schrodinger's box.
Correct. Yeah, it's truly both.
Right.
So it's in both at the same time, and as long as you don't observe it, it stays in that state. so it turns out when you use particles that are in the superposition state, they actually behave as if both were happening. So and I'll give you a crazy example called a Michelson interferometer. If I were to send a particle down that was in a superposition of horizontal and vertical,
Mhm.
and at some point there was a fork in the road where the particle, if it was polarized in one way, it would go in this direction, but if it was polarized the other way, it would go in this direction.
Mhm.
If it was in a superposition, it literally goes down both at the same time.
Hmm.
Does that seem? Can you? And I know this
I
is
lost you. I lost you at the last part.
at this last part. Okay. Um. So because it's in a superposition, it behaves differently than if it was just horizontal or just vertical.
Okay.
If it was just horizontal, it would go down one path, and just like you think of water going down one tube as if the other side was blocked off, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Um, but in a quantum superposition, it is truly not in one state or the other. It's literally in both. There's no other way to describe it. And it's not
Okay.
that we just don't know what it is. It's literally in both, and so it goes down both at the same time. And you can literally put sensors at both ends,
Uh-huh.
and both of them would go off.
Huh. Interesting.
Which is like, if you've never heard this before, and I'm not pointing at you, but to like an undergraduate student who's just getting into physics, if they've never heard this before, it's kind of mind bending, right? Because it goes against all sort of intuition.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, because you're
and
used to on off 0 1. It has to
right,
be one or the
exactly.
other.
Right. Maybe, and for me, um, to sort of like ease my nerves as to how crazy this is, sometimes it's easier to think of a photon as a wave. So
Mhm.
there's a thing called particle wave, or dual particle wave duality, meaning
Mhm.
that quantum particles can behave as particles and waves at the same time, depending on
Mhm.
which one you want. So instead of thinking it as a particle going down both directions, which might be hard to wrap your head around, just think of it as a wave that hits the fork,
Mhm.
right? So if there was an ocean wave and it hits you, right, it just kind of splits in half. The wave
Mhm.
just kind of goes into both sides
Yeah.
of you. It doesn't just choose one direction, right?
Right.
That's sort of easier to think about if that makes you feel better, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, so that's how superposition works. What quantum computers do is they take advantage of this. So
You're right. I can see how that might work.
right,
I mean, not at a scientific level, but I can see how in theory it would work.
right. So if and I'll talk about that four numbers thing that you were mentioning earlier.
Was I
Um,
totally far off on that?
no.
Or does the theory behind that kind of make sense?
So I'll describe it in like maybe more detail. With a 2-bit system, right, zeros and ones.
Mhm.
Um, if I told you that I have 2 bits and like, so there's 4 combinations, right? It could be 00, 1001, or 11.
Yeah. Yep.
You would need, in order to figure out which one of those it is, you would need 2 pieces of information.
Uh-huh.
You would need to know the first bit, and you need to know the second bit.
Right.
So for 2 bits, you need 2 pieces of information. For 2 quantum bits, so these are just like bits, but they're quantum, so they're called qubits.
Right.
Um, it turns out you need 4 numbers, like
Mm.
you were alluding to.
Yeah.
So um, I'll resort to I'll go back to an electron. It's the same quantum mechanics, same underlying physics,
Mhm.
but instead of polarization of light particles, um, have you heard of something called spin for particles?
No.
Okay, spin is an intrinsic property, just like an electron is negatively charged
Mhm.
and protons are positively charged. That's just inherent, right?
Okay.
Like you can ask why it is, um, but it's just something fundamental about it. So
Okay.
every electron has a charge associated to it.
Okay.
It turns out there's something called spin, which is also an intrinsic property
Mm.
that is more on the magnetic side.
Mhm.
So like an electron has an electric charge, and that goes with like electromagnetism. The other side of that coin is spin, which is the most fundamental part of the magnetic field. So positive and negative charges are just on the electric side, and spins are on the magnetic side. It's the most fundamental magnetic.
So what are the values of spin, I guess, is my question.
Right. So how do we quantify it? Is what you're saying?
Yeah.
So for an electron, an electron is it has spin values. It has numbers associated with it.
Okay.
So it can be
Like two
um,
numbers, just like on off, or more?
not quite. It turns out the math works out to be an infinite amount, but in practicality, there's like a reasonable limit.
Yeah.
So an electron can be spin up or spin down when it's observed. So you look at it and it goes, oh, well, that's spin up. Kind of just think of like the north side of a magnet
Mm-hmm.
and the south side of a magnet, spin
Yeah.
up or spin down. I won't even I won't get any more details than that because I won't need it. In that quantum superposition we were talking about earlier, the way that sort of translates into this electron spin idea is that instead of an electron always being in spin up or spin down, it can be in a superposition of both spin up and spin down.
Yeah.
So you can imagine the state being somewhat tilted, right? So if it was spin like sideways, for
Right.
lack of better
Yeah.
words,
Yeah. I see that. I understand
right,
that.
it'd be half up, half down, right? Are you on board so far?
Yeah.
Okay. So, and I just quickly, there's a distinction between like before and after observing this particle. So if it's spin sideways, this isn't proper verbiage, but like spin sideways, that'd be like a superposition of up and down. As soon as you observe it, it turns into either up or down. It becomes
Okay.
determined, like it becomes one of those two, up or down. Just
Okay.
like as if the photon was polarized, like half horizontal, half vertical.
Mm-hmm.
If it's in a superposition, as soon as you look at it, it's either horizontal or vertical.
Okay.
So when it comes to quantum computers, they use this spin. A section of quantum computers use this electron spin to their advantage, and this comes back to the 4 that you were talking about, because just like you needed 2 numbers to figure out the 2 bits, you need 4 numbers to find out these 2 quantum bits, because there are 4 possible states. You
So
need to
are
know.
the 2 quantum bits? So are the extra 2 from the spin, and the first 2 are from the original on-off?
No,
I'm kind
it
of
comes
picturing
from.
it as like a. Okay, keep going.
So if you have a pair of electrons, there are 4 different ways that it can be.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. There are 4 different numbers that you need to know, or 4 different values that you need to know in order to know the state of that system.
Okay.
So just like in the 2-bit system, there were 2 values that you need to know
Okay.
the entire system.
Okay.
Turns out there's 4 this time.
What I was equating that to was the first 2 values were on off, like it was inheriting that, and then the second 2 were spin, and that's how you got 4. But I see what you mean. So the 4 are just determining the spin.
I can just tell you the 4. So it can the first value you need to know is for I'll say probability. There's kind of more to it, but it's easier to understand. You need to know the probability of the system being in both electrons being spin up, so up up.
Yeah.
And then there is down down.
Okay.
And then when you have a superposition of the 2, you could have up down. But since it's in a superposition, I'm sort of relying on an intuitive argument here, but it's not obvious, but I would hope that you could see how up down is almost equally likely as it being down up.
Right. Okay.
Okay, so if you're on board with that, um, and I'll kind of give some intuition behind that because we're almost done. Remember how I was saying spin is kind of like the magnetic part,
Mhm. Yeah.
like the most fundamental magnetic piece?
Yeah.
Uh, have you seen the magnetic lines on a magnet, right? So that it kind of goes from the North Pole and it kind of circles around into the South Pole.
I don't think I know what
Here.
you're talking about.
Just Google it. You can just pull up. Okay. So here's just a normal bar magnet. And do you see these magnetic lines, how they kind of come from the North Pole and circle around and they go into the South Pole?
Yeah.
Right. So think of the electron kind of like that. So if it's spin up, then the lines are going up and then circling back around to the bottom,
Mhm.
just like this magnet.
Mhm.
If you were to put another magnet right next to it, those lines kind of tell you how something else would align next to it.
Mhm.
So in order for the lines to stay consistent, you'd want them to all flow the same direction, right? So
Right.
if you put um, two of those next to each other, two electrons, and they're both spin up, the lines coming from one of them will sort of interfere with the lines coming the other. Because if they're both spin up, they both have arrows that are kind of at odds with each other. They're kind of like running into each other.
Mhm.
Can you imagine that? So the more natural basic state is for one of them to flip so that the lines kind of just go over each other and it all flows in one direction.
Mhm. Yeah.
So if it all flows in one direction, then it's no matter if it's up, down, or down, up, the lines are still going, they're all flowing together, right?
Yeah.
So that's why it's sort of the same system in terms of down, up, or up, down.
Yeah.
And so if you don't measure those two, it's in a superposition of down, up, and up, down at the same time.
Okay.
So that's one of the superpositions. The other superposition is similar to that, but there's just like a minus sign in the math. It just turns out to be it's pretty much the same shit, but comes out different in the math. So
Gotcha.
those four is that four numbers, and I realize I've been talking about this a lot, but I never get to talk about it with anyone, so I'm just gonna rant.
I'm interested. I like
Um,
it.
so those are the four values you need to know in order to fully understand your quantum system for only 2 qubits. You need to know the probability of up, up, down, down, the superposition of up, down, down, up, and then another superposition of up, down, down, up that is slightly different in the math.
Right.
And those are the four values you need to know, and there's a number associated with each one. The higher the number, the higher probability that it is of being in that state when you observe it.
Correct.
Um, when you have those, so here's where the kind of eureka moment comes in. For 2 qubits, you need 4 numbers. For 3 qubits, if we add just one more electron into our system, it turns out you need 8 numbers,
Okay.
8 values to completely understand the system because there's more superpositions to account for.
Okay.
If you have 4 electrons, and there's an easy mathematical way to describe it is 2 to the n. So n being the amount of electrons you have.
Okay.
So if you have 3 electrons, 2 to the 3 is 8. So you need 8 numbers to fully understand the state. On the normal side, the normal bits that computers use nowadays, it's just n. So if you have 2 bits, you need to know 2 pieces of information to fully know
Yep.
the state.
Yep.
If you have 3 bits, you need 3 pieces of information to fully know the state.
Okay.
And so as the number of bits or qubits grow larger, they exponentially differentiate from each other
Yeah,
because
I
one is
see.
growing exponentially larger.
Yeah.
So that means if you have
Rather than linear, right?
exactly, so the normal bits are growing linearly, but the qubits are growing exponentially. So what that means is it boils down, without further explaining how quantum computers actually work. The theory behind it boils down to however many qubits you're using, it's essentially the same. Like however many qubits you're using in your computation, it is the same as the number of bits you're using in a normal computer, um, except it's 2 to the n.
So it's fair to
Oh,
say that if you have a computer with the same, I'm sure this isn't how it works, but if you have a computer with X amount of bits to use for processing, then you have a quantum computer with X amount of qubits for processing. The quantum computer would be exponentially faster for calculations. Is
right,
that a fair
exactly.
assessment?
Yeah, so it's 2 to the x. So if in order to build the same computational speed for these computers, if you had 3 quantum bits, you would need 8 regular bits in order for them to compete. If you had 7 quantum bits, you would need 2 to the 7th regular bits to compete. And so the genius behind this quantum computing, and there's a whole bunch of algorithms that go along with it and stuff to actually make it work. But the genius behind it is that if you have 50 quantum bits, that's equivalent to a computer having 2 to the 50 normal bits, which is an insane amount of, it's an insane number, right? Right. So 2 to the 50, or that's 60. 2 to the 50. Let's see if Google tells me how big that is. Okay, it's an enormous number. It's, yeah, 1.12 times 10 to the 15th. Just so we're clear, like computers nowadays have transistors, which is equivalent to the bits that we're talking about in terms of the billion and like billions. A quantum computer can do that. Yeah, a quantum computer can do that with, like 20 qubits. You'd only need 20 electrons to get the same sort of computing power. So, if you could imagine a quantum computer with, if you had 100 electrons, which really is not that much, right? You have trillions and trillions in your body. You only need 100, and all of a sudden, you have more computing power than than an equivalent computer with more bits than there are particles in the universe. So that's quantum computing in a 20-minute lecture. That's like, yeah. So the cryptography part, right? There, yeah. A a quantum computer can crack a hash bit exponentially quicker than a normal computer can. So if a normal computer takes 1,000 years to crack, that might turn out to be a few days for a quantum computer. Which brings question. And originally I was bringing up quantum cryptography, which is a different sort of protocol. Instead of hash bits for normal computers, there's protocols in quantum that are actually unhackable. Oh, he's saying, "Oh, you're not muted, right?"
No, I'm good now.
Okay. Um, yeah, we've been talking about this for a while, so we can talk about this some other time. But there's a field called quantum cryptography, which I guess I know a lot about.
I guess. I mean,
But
kind of a big deal around
I
here.
mean, yeah. But there are protocols in that where it is theoretically uncrackable.
Huh. Interesting.
Which is why I was, because it kind of leads to the security thing. So it's like, yeah, and until we get into the quantum world, nothing's safe.
Yeah.
Theoretically.
Interesting.
So now that I just killed the stream,
I liked it. I'm sure someone will get a kick out of it.
Yeah.
I like talking about tech stuff. I wish you knew more about
Yeah.
web. I would talk about web.
Wish I knew more about web so we can talk about web.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wish that too.
We'll give each other lectures about different topics every week. You can do physics and I'll do web stuff or Python stuff or something.
Yeah, we could talk Python. I know Python. But in terms of full stack, you'd have to educate me on.
It'd be
full
fun
stack.
to go over like how a website works. or like how the
Yeah, I don't
basis
know
of
the
a web
specifics of
page
that.
works. I feel like a lot of people don't. I know I didn't before I started getting into it. It's really interesting how it works, but we can get into that later. It's enough
Maybe that's what our
educational.
podcast will
Yeah,
turn into. It's just educational
this is what our
bullshit that
degrees
no one
are
cares
for, is
about.
just regurgitating stuff. Even though my degree doesn't really relate to web. I have a degree in IT, infotech.
Right.
Okay.
Is there any other topics you wanted to talk about?
Yeah, there's
We
there's
have
a
the
few.
Trump Goya beans.
Goya. Yeah, there's so
They're this week's sponsor. Didn't you know?
yeah, I did. Thank you. Yeah, so Goya Foods is a company. I don't know exactly what sort of
God
stuff
damn
they
it.
sell, but I know they sell like beans and other things. And they apparently came out in support of Donald Trump and etc. They praised Trump. Uh, yeah. And so Ivanka Trump and Donald Trump have just been having a fucking photo op with Goya Foods now, because they literally just came out and supported President Trump, and everyone tried to cancel Goya, cancel culture and all that. So Ivanka had this picture. It says, "If it's Goya, it has to be good," and then they say it in Spanish. Oh, then they say it in Spanish. Just a
Hey,
photo
it's
op
great.
thing.
Tiene que ser bueno.
Yeah, thank you. And Donald Trump also posed with some Goya products.
Goya.
Yeah, I can't believe this is what we're talking about. That Donald Trump
This is
had a photo op
insane.
with Goya Foods,
The
all
president
because
of the United
they, yeah,
States is doing advertising for
yeah,
a fucking product.
because
Like,
they supported him.
has any president in the history of presidents ever done this before?
I don't know. Maybe it's probably
Does
not
he
that
realize?
outlandish to think. It's just funny
Does he,
that it's like a company like this. I don't know. It's just weird.
does he realize how stupid he looks?
Probably not. Supporters love it, dude. They went and bought Goya.
Holy fuck. Well, the only good thing that's come out of this is the memes of photoshopping out Goya beans and replacing it with. Well, there's countless things that it's been replaced with, but
Yeah.
it's fucking hilarious. Have you seen some of these memes?
Yeah, there's some really good Goya memes.
Like
going around now.
Ivanka like holding the beans and just like
Yeah.
oh, it's so good.
It's funny. It's great.
Like pictures of Epstein and Trump together instead of Goya.
Yeah.
Fucking hilarious. First of all, is this illegal?
That's what I thought when I first saw this. I don't know if it's illegal or not. I think it's definitely at least unethical, right? To come out in
Right,
support of a company just because they supported you. And I'm gonna throw it out there that it's just because they've supported him, because I've never
They have
even
they did
heard of
support him.
Goya Foods until this. So
Yeah, I haven't
I
either.
know that Donald Trump hasn't had any fucking photo ops until they said something about him. So I think it's a fair assessment to say he's doing this because they supported him.
Yeah, they did come out to support him.
Yeah. Well, I think he's doing these photo op things because they came out and supported him, though, and I think that's inherently unethical for any president.
I know there is like some ethical code that presidents tend to follow for stuff like this.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, you can throw ethics right out the window.
well,
With this,
yeah, you can anything related
administration,
to ethics you can throw out the window. Yeah. So I guess only like people really only care about if it's illegal or not.
Well, one side
Let's
of the
see.
aisle cares.
Oh, this is talking about Ivanka's like clothing and jewelry brand. This was like way in the beginning of the presidency.
Oh yeah, it's just in China.
Wow.
That's where it is. It's in China.
Huh. Why? Okay. From what I've seen, it doesn't look like it's illegal. Just highly frowned upon.
Yeah, highly frowned upon.
Just like Goya bean advertising illegal. See what pops up.
I always like to say this, and it's always the same answer, but can you imagine if Goya Foods came out in support of Obama, and Obama started doing photo ops, and his children came out and started doing photo ops with Goya Foods? How triggered people would be.
Oh my god.
Oh my lord, that would be a shit show.
Let me text my lawyer friend and see if this is illegal. Is Trump supporting
Trump's photo op?
Goya beans illegal?
Yeah. So that's Goya. If it's Goya, it has to be good.
Are you gonna stop buying Goya products?
I've never bought Goya products ever. I probably won't start.
Answer the question.
No, because I didn't before, and I probably won't. I don't have a reason to. I'm not in
are
the
they
bean
like?
industry.
Are they delicious?
I don't, dude.
Goya beans.
Ivanka
Let's see if
said
they
that
look
if it's
delicious.
Goya, it has to be good. So I guess.
Fuck, dude. Okay, so they have. Dude, if I go into my pantry right now and I find Goya beans like in the back,
Dude, you
from
better
like
dump them down the
2012.
toilet.
They don't look delicious. Like it looks from the marketing, it looks quite subpar. Oh, here's the nutrition facts. Maybe there's something we can find in here.
I will say an unpopular opinion I probably have. Goya food shouldn't be canceled because of who they support.
True. It's not unpopular.
Should not happen.
If you're gonna cancel culture, then you gotta stand by it even when it's not in your favor.
Cancel culture is a stupid made up word.
Do you think that? Well, actually, is blacklisting on Twitter canceling? Is that cancel culture?
Yeah, it is.
Fuck, I was in support of that. God damn it.
Do you think it's cancel culture?
I'm a hypocrite.
The only difference between that and saying X is over party on Twitter is that they're a private organization and they can justify it by saying he broke their terms of service. That's the only difference. And the terms of service are made up by them. So if I said, here's my terms of service, and someone said something, and I could say, oh, that broke my terms of service, so you're canceled now. Right? It's exactly the same thing.
It's the same shit. Yeah, you call it whatever you want. All right, I changed my mind. I'm in favor of cancel culture when it's in my favor.
But it's Goya. Fuck Goya.
Fuck Goya.
So you do think Goya should be canceled?
Now I do.
Yeah. Well, I think it's totally fair not to want to buy Goya products if they are supporting someone you don't like. I'm not going to go buy Goya products because they support. I never have before, but I'm saying if for some reason I went to the store and I saw they had a sale on black beans and they're Goya branded.
I'll go further. If I
now
go to
I
a friend's
would.
house and he's cooking dinner and I go, oh, just out of curiosity, what beans are you using? He goes, oh, I'm using Goya beans.
Yeah.
I would rather starve.
They were on sale.
I would rather starve than eat Goya beans. I'm just putting that out there.
Yeah, that's fair. People have the right to do that. But I think calling a bean company out, I don't know if they're a bean company. I'm calling them a bean company. If calling out a bean company on Twitter is really stupid.
This is going to be a sound on our future soundboard. It's just going to say canceled and then poof, and just like slam down on the screen.
I like that. We need to start writing down our soundboard ideas.
We gotta get that going. We gotta get intro music first.
Someone needs to make.
God
a list of
damn
that.
it! This podcast is so low quality.
We don't have a soundboard. It's awful.
We don't have a fucking soundboard.
Canceled. I like that. I'll just start saying it for now, but we'll have to get a soundboard eventually because that's gonna.
We'll have two of them. One of them can say canceled, and the other one's gonna say deported.
Deported. So I like that.
Whenever we don't like people.
Deported.
Oh, my friend replied. He says no, it's not illegal. The Hatch Act doesn't apply to the president. For Ivanka, though, it should be. Oh, interesting. All right, Ivanka, you're deported. Trump, you're gonna be deported.
Yep. Also deported.
January when you're not president anymore.
Where are we deporting Trump to? Who do you think would take Trump? Russia? Russia would
take
Trump.
No, just thinking like the worst country on earth, and then we'll just hand him off. We'll just airdrop.
Well, who do you think would like Trump?
Russia.
Yeah, Russia. Saudi Arabia.
Any dictatorship, really.
Breaking news: our friends at Goofpaste don't have a soundboard either, so we're okay. Just saying, we're all right. I was worried, but we're good now. I still want to get a soundboard though.
Well, we'll get soundboards for both of us. We'll share soundboards.
Yeah, we'll share them. Yeah, we got to get like a voice clip of Travis from Goofpaste saying something, and then they can have one of us saying like canceled or deported or something. They'll probably won't want deported because that's a little edgy. We'll do
edgy
canceled.
like that.
What? Oh, let's do. I think this is the
Oh
last.
wait, before we go any further, has your aunt responded?
No. My
Damn it.
science experiment has not yielded any results yet.
Okay, we'll give it.
She
some time.
did see it though, so I'm
Right.
very interested.
Yeah.
It's been 5 hours.
Do you think she read it?
Yeah, it said seen. She's definitely seen it. I mean, I doubt she watched it. She probably got pissed when she saw it, but
Yeah, when she just saw like the article head title.
yeah.
Well, we're at.
Well,
Is there anything else you want to talk
let's
about?
do. I want to do the old meme that I brought up to you,
Oh.
and you didn't remember right
The
away, and
pre-show-
I just want to
the
revisit it
pre-show.
because it's hilarious.
Okay, let's do it.
A long time ago, was it when? I think it was when he first got elected. Kanye West visited Trump in the White House, and let me
This was like
pull this up, please.
2018,
Hello?
I think.
Hello? Yeah.
Hello?
No, I think it was like 2016, like right when he got elected.
Oh.
I think.
What,
I don't know.
really?
Anyways, Kanye visited Trump, and he was sharing his airplane idea with Trump, and it's very funny.
And what we want to start with is
This old news is still funny.
I brought a gift with me right here. Company work on this plane with, but you know what I don't
Even Trump was just like, "What the fuck do I do with this?
He just
What the
smiles
fuck do
and
I
says
do
yes.
with this?" Yeah. So the iPlane 1 is what he called it, and he showed
He's
it
like,
to Jared Kushner and the president. The president joked that he'll replace the Air Force One, and then West said, "We're gonna have Apple, an American company, work on this plane with us." What do you think Apple thought when they heard that? Like, oh shit! Like, all their employees were like, "Are we in the plane business now? I didn't know we
Are
were in the
we?
plane business now.
Fuck,
We're making
dude, are we?"
planes."
They just have blueprints drawn up that day. We got to get on this.
Oh, here's a
What do you
better
think
picture
Trump was
of the
thinking? Like,
iPlane
I don't
one.
know who you think I'm president of, but it's not Apple. Like, I can't just make this happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a sick looking plane,
yeah.
though, dude. Not gonna lie.
He said it's a hydrogen powered plane.
Even better.
That's pretty sick. It's not gas guzzling enough for Trump though.
Oh yeah, it's gotta.
It's got to kill off the Earth
got
by
enough-
at
Yeah.
least like 15 seconds per
Gotta
second of usage.
spit out
Yeah.
enough CO2 to make
Yeah.
a species of bird go extinct.
This is what our president should be flying in. And Apple's gonna work. It's just like it's something
Apple's
like
gonna do it.
it's something like your nephew would tell you. Like, why aren't you driving this car? And it's just some crazy future
It's like
car
a
that's not
Bugatti,
even
yeah.
real. Yeah. Yeah. Why aren't you driving this car? You should be driving the best cars. It's just like, well, what do I say to that?
Well,
I'd love to.
when you grow up, you'll understand.
I think there was only one other thing on our list. We'll just briefly touch on it. ICE rescinds the order to deport foreign students for not going to in-person classes, which is a good thing. That was
Yeah,
really,
we talked about this.
Yeah, we
kind of
talked
at
about
length
it
last week.
Yeah, we kind of talked about it a lot last
And
week.
possible arguments for like.
Yeah.
We concluded it was fucking retarded.
Yeah.
And all the counter arguments were also retarded. But we don't have to argue anymore because they got rid of it.
Yeah.
Thankfully.
MIT and I think it said Harvard took it to the court, and they made an
yes.
agreement. It said the article from BBC that I read, it said that they came to an agreement. And by
Yeah, they
agreement,
settled.
I'm sure they told Trump that that's fucking stupid. But no matter how it happened, it's a good thing it happened because that was mega fucked. So that's that.
Yeah, there is some good in this world.
Yeah.
Even if it's just undoing evil and not like providing any,
undoing it like
benefit.
that.
It's just undoing evil is a way of doing good in the world. So I'll give it to them.
All right.
That's a good way to end on a happier note.
Yeah, happier note. I like that.
Stay tuned next week for our intro music that won't be here, and our soundboard that won't be here.
Yeah, not going to be here, but you can look forward to it. So keep coming back, please. I beg.
Come back episode 20.
Yeah. That is episode 12.
Yeah, I think that'll wrap it.
Have a
Catch
nice
us-
weekend. Stay safe,
us-
friends.
Catch us live on Thursdays. We upload every Fridays on our YouTube channel.
Mostly.
Stay safe. Don't get the Rona.
Yeah, try not to.
And wear a fucking mask.
Yeah, please do. There's no excuse not to. Your oxygen's
Must-
going to be
yeah.
fine if you put one on.
Yeah, your own carbon dioxide won't kill you.
Yep.
You'll be all right. All right, see you next week.
See ya.